Explore Tulsa is an opportunity to see behind the scenes of Tulsa's most unique places.
To hear the stories of real people who are doing fantastic things and who love living here.
We look at the people, places, and events that make Tulsa home. Welcome to a few minutes of Exploring Tulsa. Hi, welcome to Explore Tulsa. I'm Trish Whitmer, and we're happy you're here.
And I'm Austin Morton. You found the show that looks at everything Tulsa. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, here's something you may not know, Austin. It can take up to 300 pairs of hands to produce something we consider to be fine.
You mean like a fine wine, or a finely woven fabric, or a finely tuned SRT8 V8 6.2 supercharged Hemi engine?
Not the engine, silly, but yes, all that other stuff. And we found some fine things right here on Cherry Street, and a fine husband and wife team as well.
So cigars have to be kept in a temperature and humidity range. If they go above or below that, the quality starts to degrade. It's a static environment inside here, no matter what's going on outside. The temperature inside doesn't vary. So if it's for a short amount of time, it wouldn't degrade the cigars, but for more than 2 or 3 days, like in Houston when they had hurricanes and all the cigar shops were without power, all the merchandise was lost. 3 or 4 days, high, no electricity, high heat, no AC, high humidity destroys them. A fine cigar is something that it's a special type of tobacco plant. It's all done by hand. So there's a widely used number used in our industry that any cigar that you see in here, there's over 300 sets of hands that have touched that cigar from start to finish. That's a lot of hands. And generally speaking, from the time a tobacco seed is planted to it's ready to be shipped out, could be 6 to 8 years. That's a long time for that one tobacco plant. So cigars are something that's interesting to me because there's aging that goes along with it. So unlike a lot of other type of products, the older the tobacco gets, the better it gets. It ages nicely, it kind of gets rid of any harsh elements that are inside the tobacco, and it just becomes better and better. Well, we're also involved with coffee. The cigar side started in 1996. The coffee side started in 99. And it was kind of a toss-up, which came first, because they're equal interest to me. So our cigar shop is, I think, one of the oldest, if not the oldest. Coffee shop is one of the oldest, if not the oldest.
I definitely am the HR manager. I do all the scheduling and most of the people problems. The schedule and the people are more complicated at the cafe. So generally, I'm at the cafe because it takes more work to operate, but sometimes I'm here too. I
enjoy finding out about these two product groups. It's never felt like a job. So I feel that having long-standing, long-running businesses, it's been a blessing to me because I've been able to do what I love and get paid for it and always be learning about it. So I work with my wife because this is not something that she started out doing.
It probably took a good decade before I could really enjoy cigars, of trying. Probably at least a decade, but that was about a decade ago. So I'll never be a connoisseur like James is. It will never be my go-to treat when I'm stressed, but I have a really great appreciation for it, and definitely kind of work like many relationships to keep updated on it, even though it's not the easiest thing for me to turn to.
She's, I think, come to love the business as much as I do. She definitely is more inclined towards the coffee side than the cigar side, but she goes on trips with me. She'll go and learn how cigars are made. We do a good job complementing each other.
In all the ways that I'm pretty conventional, he's pretty unique. And that has challenges and benefits. I think in this business, more benefits for sure. And he has me, who is more steady and stable and less of an idea person and more of a grounded person to kind of help keep it all manageable and happening.
I'm more of the black and white. She's more of the gray area. So it's a good balance on a daily basis. And we've taken turns firing each other over in the past too. So I'm fired one day, she's fired the next day. So, but most days it's pretty seamless. So and we're able to not take it home every day.
Do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. Somebody smart said that, and I think these two really believe that.
They do seem to work well together, but they get to fire each other when they need to, and I love that. What a fun couple.
Coming up next, we tell you about another young couple with a story that'll make you sit up and take notice.
We're taking a short break, and I'm gonna suggest that you grab some Kleenex before our next two stories.
Word to the wise. We're back in just a moment.
Have you outgrown your home entertainment system? Then it's time to step up with Video Revolution and Sony for the ultimate 4K home theater experience. Size does matter when it comes to the quality and enjoyment that you get from a home entertainment system. Engineered by the experts at Video Revolution on the northwest corner of 71st and Lewis.
When eating products with high glycemic carbohydrates like sugar and flour, our bodies release large amounts of insulin to convert what we've consumed into usable energy.
If insulin is continually elevated, our bodies are signaled to store fat.
Keep in mind, sugar calories are deadly calories, which can lead to heart attacks, obesity, and type 2 diabetes.
The key is to keep insulin under control. Stay away from high glycemic index carbohydrates.
At least 80% of our daily carbohydrates should be from the low glycemic variety. Get our free glycemic index food chart at sherwoodwellness.tv.
We've talked about this before, Trish, how not everything in life is happy and carefree.
And we wondered about bringing you these next two stories because they're, well, a little emotional.
But knowing what has come from the adversity for this Tulsa couple and the impact they're having around the state made it easy to share their story.
First, we introduce you to Sawyer and Hearts of Steel Foundation.
Rockstar, superstar, super Sawyer. Sprint through hell and back. So have we.
My son's name is Sawyer. He was born April 8th, 2013. Actually, he was born with 4 congenital heart defects, but his primary defect is called Epstein's anomaly. It's very rare. 1 in 200,000 babies are born with it, so you don't see it around a whole lot. But he was also born with 2 holes in his atrium, and then he also has Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome, which is an electrical defect that affects the rhythm of his heart. I remember sitting there and they were doing their scans and she asked me about the baby, but then when she got to his heart, she stopped. She never asked me about him ever again. And I knew that it was bad for her to just stop talking about him like he was a person. And we went into a room, my husband and I and our baby. We had another baby who was 13 months old at the time, and they told us that he had a very bad heart defect that was very rare, and that there was a less than 50% chance that he would live to the age of 5, and he would need surgery immediately. And this was all if he survived being in my womb for the rest of the term, and if he survived the birthing process, and if he could survive the couple of days after. It looked very grim, and it was the single worst day of our life. And there's just nothing that can prepare you for that. When a doctor comes out and they have a diagram of a normal heart, but they say, this is what your son's heart looks like, and it's nothing like what it's supposed to be, and you just know that he's gonna be in trouble. We knew he was gonna be in big trouble.
He's been through 6, looking at the lights and, oh no, I don't know if I'm coming back. Been through open heart surgery.
His health now is actually really pretty good considering he's pink, he's not purple, he used to be purple all the time.
His 5th birthday was, last month. Like, he shouldn't have lived to be 5 from what all the doctors and everybody said. He kicks ass every day. He's just happy. Happiest kid in the world. Now he plays soccer. He's riding around his scooter. His older brother Nolan loves him to death. You have to go somewhere else if you have a pretty detrimental heart defect. Like I said, we were in St. Louis for about 2 months and both lost our jobs.
The bills are staggering. I mean, our sons, we call them our $1 million baby. Most of these critical heart kids rack up millions of dollars in debt.
The restaurant I was at closed down, and we moved up to St. Louis, stayed at the Ronald McDonald House. Thought we would have to sell the house, sell the cars, sell everything.
It's just like, I think I used the term the other day, it's like lighting a match and throwing it at your savings and it's just gone. We found a nonprofit organization there called Mighty Oaks Heart Foundation.
We got picked up by an awesome nonprofit up there. It's really saved us. I mean, can't even imagine like what some of these parents have to go through with like selling their house, and they paid our mortgage for 4 months.
Once Sawyer got in a better spot, I said, well, I really wish Tulsa had something like that. So I called up Becky, who runs Mighty Oaks, and I asked if she would be offended if I started something basically copying what she's doing there. And she said, I wish people would do it in every city, gave me your blessing, and here we are. We started it and we just knew this area needed our help. We serve Oklahoma families specifically, and we step in and we will help them, whether through, if they just need to connect with other heart families, we'll kind of connect them with other parents. If they need goodie bags for the hospital, we'll do that. We do food drops a lot in the hospital here. We'll get the local chefs and restaurants involved. And then of course, the most important thing that we do is we'll step in and we will financially assist families.
I just want to help all the kids. If I could, if I had that money, I would just help them all.
When your kid's sick, you need to focus on your kid. You shouldn't have to focus on the burden of finances, but that's just not the way the world works. The bills don't stop. They never stop. They triple. Who's gonna help you? We will.
I can't even imagine how horrible that must have been for Natalie and Ben.
But for them to be able to take such a heartache and turn it into such an amazing organization is truly inspirational.
And next, Ben talks us through a particular group of Tulsans who have stepped up in a unique way to raise awareness and raise money for the families of children just like Sawyer.
This story isn't done yet. We're coming right back with more.
When Explore Tulsa returns in a moment.
When I listen to music, I close my eyes and it takes me away. Anytime we bring a new speaker into the studio, we tune the speaker for the room. Every room sounds different, and every environment that the speaker goes into affects the sound of the speakers. Now you can do the same thing at home that we do in the studio. I can think of no better feeling than to close your eyes and disappear into the music.
Come hear for yourself at Video Revolution.
Chefs. We've all heard the stories.
About the crazy schedules and the crazy antics that chefs are sometimes known for.
Makes for great stories, and who doesn't love an exquisite meal at one of our fine restaurants around town?
But what you may not know is Tulsa has a very close-knit chef community, one that is unique and that our chefs can work together in a really beautiful way when the bat signal flares in the night sky.
I feel being a chef, I love food. But I do this to provide for my family. But to provide for my family, I have to make this restaurant viable and interesting for people to come in. It needs to be a destination for people to want to eat. So it really taking that passion and using the fuel, which is my family, to really create a food experience for Tulsa and people outside of Tulsa that want to come and eat in Tulsa. Everybody comes here for the burger. It's a great burger. I won't tell you the 4 cuts of meat in there because it's kind of a secret, but it's mushroom cognac sauce, Stilton cheese, which is like a British kind of blue cheese, and we make our own challah buns. So you got the salty, flavors, you got the funky flavor from the cheese, you got the sweetness from the bun, and just, superb meat. And what really makes it, the best burger is the care we take when we cook it, from start to finish, from when the meat comes in the front door, from the time we send it out to the guest. And we do that with all of our food, because we have to gain the trust of the guests that are coming in, especially in harder economic times like this. If we can gain their trust that we're going to put out a perfect product every single time, they'll keep coming back. So that's my main concern, is making sure the guests feel welcomed and they trust us enough to come celebrate a dinner or come in before a concert or something like that, and they know they're going to get exactly what they ordered every single time they order it. When I first got here, they would change the menu 4 times a year seasonally, but in my perspective on seasonality is there's stuff that's really fresh in the springtime, early spring, that goes out late spring. So if we're going to stay ahead of the trends and be one of the restaurants that everybody's talking about, we need to really utilize the fresh produce that we can get at the farmers market and the local farmers and stuff like that. So I've changed my menu 8 to 10 times a year. Servers don't like it that much because it's always something new they got to learn and everything, but they get used to it, and right when they get used to it, I change it up again. So when I went up through the ranks, it was a lot of, in kitchens anyways, there was a lot of yelling and screaming and throwing of cutting boards, and so really figuring out the correct way to coach and teach all of your employees, and it's made me a more patient person. I'm not saying I'm patient, I'm just more patient than I used to be. Saje taught me a lot on not sweating the small things in life, and I do that here. Granted, I'm very detailed and OCD in the kitchen, but if a cook's 5 minutes late, got stuck in traffic, it's fine. He works hard, it's fine, I still demand a lot out of him. The whole Tulsa chef community and restaurant community is unparalleled to anywhere I've ever been. Essentially, you send out a bat signal and all the chefs come towards the bat signal and we get things done. One of our biggest contributors in the restaurant community, besides the Nelly's group, is Eric Reynolds over at Smoke Wood Fire Grill. He did his Butcher Block promo at Smoke, and ran it for 6 months, and the proceeds from that goes to Heart to Steel. The Cicero's, they did a benefit dinner, I want to say it was last August, for Heart to Steel Foundation. Even from South Tulsa all the way up here, all the chefs, we know each other. We know each other's kids. We have barbecues and we have crawfish boils. And it's just fun. It's just fun hanging out with chefs. It could be the Midwest mentality. I know some of the Oklahoma chefs band together and they do a pretty good job, but we just genuinely care about people. And I think that's the big thing, is actually just caring.
Now, our chefs will tell you that the camaraderie in Tulsa is very unique, and many of them have worked in cities all around the country.
It makes for some tasty fundraising, and that's never a bad thing.
Well, it sure made a great story to share, and we hope you'll check out both Hearts of Steel Foundation and the Tavern in downtown Tulsa.
You're likely to run into Ben and Natalie hanging out around the Tavern. Tell them how awesome they are when you see them.
Explore Tulsa returns in a moment with the inside scoop on the perfect cup of coffee.
Straight from the mind of an engineer.
Hi, Dr. Robert Zellner here. For over 20 years, I've offered affordable, convenient eye care in Tulsa. Right now, you can get 1 pair of glasses or contact lenses starting at just $99, or my 2-pair deal for $129. Hey, and as always, the eye exam's included. Walk-ins are always welcome. Glasses are ready in about an hour. Plus, we have over 2,000 frames to choose from. We're open 7 days a week. Come see why we're voted Tulsa's best. And our drive-thru at 69th and Memorial makes pickup simple and easy. For the best eye care value in Tulsa, Dr. Robert Zellner and Associates.
The box stores have come and gone, but Video Revolution is 35 years strong. Come see why. Video Revolution is the largest independent consumer electronics store in the region. For 35 years, we continue to have low prices and high customer service. Top brands like Sony, Samsung, LG, Yamaha, Sonos, Klipsch, and many more. Better than box stores in so many ways. Come experience the difference. The Video Revolution difference on the northwest corner of 71st and Lewis.
Earlier, we looked at the nuances of creating a fine cigar and all that it takes to make each one exceptional.
And so it is when it comes to roasting coffee beans. So much care goes into getting the formula just right.
We sat down with Katie and Nathaniel and learned the art of coffee roasting at Sage Creek Coffee Company.
My first introduction to coffee was I was 8 years old, and my dad gave me black coffee. It took me over 20 years to recover. So I actually did not really touch coffee again until I got married to my husband, Nathaniel. And he is an engineer, and what I tell everyone is coffee is his lifeblood. Like, there's nothing else running through his veins. He lives for coffee.
Honestly, I had absolutely no idea how technical it was. You know, you hear a lot of people like, oh yeah, I just cook coffee on a whirly pop. And so I didn't go that route because I'm an engineer, you know, and so, but no, it was a exploration, I suppose.
So we got a small drum roaster. It's about that big. And he just started practicing and researching and playing with it. And then we started sharing it with our friends. Like, they'd come over, we'd make coffee. This is really good coffee. Like, oh, well, this is the stuff that we roasted. Can I get some? Can you make some for me? And so eventually family started wanting coffee. Additional friends wanted coffee. Like, do we make the jump? And so thought about it, looked at all the numbers, and decided I think we could probably do it. There wasn't really any place in Broken Arrow that had the model that we thought would work best based on what our schedules were like and how, since we knew we probably wouldn't be able to do the coffee shop front, like a Starbucks or like even Romeo's in downtown BA. We thought that's gonna take a whole nother level of learning. So we thought, let's stick with the roastery and see where it goes from there.
If you turn it into engineering speak, roasting is managing a chemical reaction. And so you're managing that utilizing all of the technology that's built into these roasters to manage how heat's applied to the bean. Now, all of that technical detail and all the numbers and logging, that all boils down to, does the coffee taste good or not? But as an engineer, I can see a direct correlation between the two, and I feel like that helps me understand what I need to do to the coffee to make it have an optimal flavor.
You have to be really, really careful about the roasting, and there are so many variables. It's why we can't have people walking in the door when I'm roasting. There's too many things that could go wrong if I'm distracted.
So the roaster has two different thermocouples on it. So thermocouple is just basically a metal rod that's going to measure temperature. One of them is submerged in the beans as they roast, as they roll in the drum, and then the other one is actually measuring the exhaust temperature. When you take those two pieces of information together, the exhaust temperature to some extent predicts what the bean temperature is going to do in the future by maybe 15 or 30 seconds. And so by managing those and having an understanding of the chemical reactions and what you're trying to do to the coffee, you can manage the temperature input to be able to produce the desired output.
When we thought about the business, we had just been married for maybe 3 months when this kind of all started. So newlyweds and a new business, like, okay, what are we really getting into? And he's a whole picture, like, he likes to see the whole thing. And I'm a detail person, but I also like to look forward. And like, this could commit us for probably the next 3 years. Do we want to stick with this? And if it succeeds, are we continuing it on after that, or are we just doing this as a hobby?
You know, waking up in the morning and then my wife is awesome and like makes me coffee before I'm even in the kitchen, you know, and being able to get that coffee, and then you know, on the drive to work, and I get to work and I sit down and I take my first sip, and you know, when it's a good cup of coffee, you're just like, oh man, it's gonna be a good day. So, you know, whenever you get those cups of coffee, that's a good way to start the day. And honestly, that happens pretty often with what we're doing here.
So far, so good. We want to keep it going. You know, we don't regret starting it. It's been a fantastic learning experience, if nothing else.
Who knew roasting coffee was so scientific?
Definitely an art, and there's nothing quite like the smell of fresh roasting coffee beans. Thanks for the tour, guys. Maybe we could make them a coffee sponsor for the show.
Ooh, good luck with that. But for now, we're gonna take a quick break, but come back to wrap up this week's show, so don't go far.
Take charge of your health. We are what we put into our bodies.
We approach medicine from a unique standpoint. Rather than treating only the symptoms of an illness, we work to find the root cause and promote wellness of the entire body.
Our clinic offers complete assessment and treatment programs, including hormone replacement therapy, osteopathic manipulative therapy, and genetic DNA testing. It all starts with a medical evaluation.
Contact us today to begin your path to wellness.
Sony and Video Revolution take you there. From space travel to world championships. Tomorrow's technology today. 4K smart TVs and the largest flat screens available. Now more than ever, you have the best seat in the world when history is made. Video Revolution. On the northwest corner, 71st and Lewis.
Well, there you go. Everything Tulsa.
Just like we do each week. Thanks for being a part.
We couldn't do this without our sponsors, so take a moment to say thanks to Doctors Michelle and Mark Sherwood and Functional Medical Institute, home of whole body wellness.
And to Video Revolution, where you will find all of your home and business technology solutions and a knowledgeable, friendly staff. Thanks also to Dr. Zollner and Associates, Tulsa's best eye care value and still the home of the $99 deal.
If you want to explore a little on your own, over 1,600 of our stories are on our YouTube channel, or go to exploretulsa.com and see Tulsa from a unique perspective.
Our thanks to this week's guests, the Cigar Warehouse, Hearts of Steel Foundation, and the Tavern, and Sage Coffee and Broken Arrow.
Get in touch with us with any comments, or if you know of someone who needs to be on here. We're always watching for interesting stories.
Thanks again, and we'll see you next time right here on Explore Tulsa.